Hi, I'm Richard Clewer. I'm the leader of Wiltshire Council. We have agreed our budget for next year, a hugely significant budget for the council, looking at how we're going to be spending £417 million supporting the residents of Wiltshire, but also looking at investment next year of 307 million in our capital programme, and over the course of the next 8 years, £1.3 billion to provide the infrastructure and the sort of the physical work that Wiltshire needs to thrive. The budget primarily concentrates on the work we do to look after the 15,000 vulnerable adults we support, and the children that we look after, about 700 looked after children. So it covers the full range of the council's areas of responsibility, including highways, planning, but the real focus and the real high spending areas are those areas around social care. There are some difficult, some challenging decisions being made in the budget this year. We face some very uncertain times. We're recovering from the impacts of COVID. Government have been really helpful with funding during COVID, but we've not continued with the process of savings we normally would, and that means there is some catching up to do. But also the transformation of the adult social care sector nationally over the course of the next 3 years, married in with our own transformation locally, means there's an awful lot of work to do there. We're also looking at how we support our high streets and how we support them to evolve from places where people just go to shop, because I'm afraid there is no way that the high street can outcompete the internet now for price or for speed of delivery. But instead, we've got to make sure that they are focused around places where people go to eat out, to meet with friends, to do a bit of shopping, to attend an event, to listen to live music. And we've got funding there to support that evolution as well. So a complex budget, a tough budget, but one that sets us up on a really solid, stable financial footing for the next 3 years, despite the uncertainties the world throws at us. We have also approved now the council's business plan. It's taken several months to pull this together. It's a very different approach to a business plan to the way that we've worked one in the past. It consists of three elements. You've got the business plan document itself, which explains the broad principles under which, or the broad priorities that we have for the county, looking at addressing issues such as inequality, looking at making sure we are working very closely with all of our partners, particularly the health service with the integrated care system, but our parish town councils, working with the voluntary sector, the military, the police. It also looks at making sure that we treat our communities as the separate, distinct communities they are. Marlborough is very different as a place to Westbury, which is very different as a place to Coombe Bissett. The business plan then has a series of service delivery plans that sit underneath it, not things I would expect anyone apart from the officers delivering them to be reading, but those are about the specific ways in which we will act on the broader plans inside the business plan. Those are no longer simply assigned to one part of the council. So historically, our people services would have had an approach, and place would have had an approach, housing would have had an approach. Now we are expecting the elements of the council to which that service plan is relevant to all be involved. So you can't deal with homelessness without understanding what support is coming from housing, but also support from the NHS, support from in terms of addiction, mental health services, a whole raft of different elements of the council focusing on those problems. And lastly, and most importantly, we've got to my mind, we've got the metrics. The metrics are around measuring how we are performing against the business plan. We've got some top level metrics, so cabinet can rapidly understand how the council as a whole is performing, and then a lot of more detailed information. And it's to make sure that we have that, both the granularity of data, but the ability to understand where we are progressing over time. And we've had elements of that inside the council, but we've never drawn it together properly before. So the business plan as a whole is setting the strategic direction for the council, the plans that we are going to use to deliver it, and then making sure that we are reviewing, understanding how we are delivering against those plans. It will evolve constantly over time. It isn't a fixed document, but it's a very useful tool to make sure that we as a council both know where we're going and whether we're getting there.